Today I'm going to teach you how to build some frames. Whether you need to build frames or even have any desire at all to do that yourself or not, this should still be fun to watch. I always do this on the floor in my studio because it's the only for sure flat surface that I have, and I really haven't set up a good flat table or workspace that's not outside in the freezing cold. So this is where I do it. Now for frame making, I want you to realize that you don't have to use fancy molding like I've purchased here. You can use any wood. I used to make my frames out of 1x4s, just standard lumber 1x4s, and I would sometimes carve them to be not as fancy as this, but you know, it's just another hobby, I guess, if you want to get into that, or if you have tools to, like a router, to make your own profiles. But just for your information, I did get this nice molding at a cabinet shop. Okay, so I've got out in my shed just a few saws, and this is where I also store my molding. And what I've done is I've set one saw at this 45-degree angle, and then the other saw on the other side of the room at that 45-degree angle. That way it's just a little bit faster if I have a whole bunch of frames to do at once. I'm not going to bother showing you the setup. It's pretty self-explanatory. I've just got two chop saws, one on one wall and one on the other wall, and I can just go back and forth because obviously for each piece you need that angle and that angle. So that part's not too hard. This part though, this is something that took me years and years to figure out the best way to do it. I actually spent a lot of money a few years ago getting this pneumatic underpinner, and what it does is you step on a little pedal down there, and this machine, well, it underpins. It sticks a little L-shaped nail up through the bottom of the frame and drives it really deeply, and you can do it double deep, and it's a really nice thing. But I found that this other system that you already saw a glimpse of is actually a lot easier, to the point where I've relegated this expensive piece of machinery to my storage closet. I do kind of have a twinge of guilt or regret for that. Maybe I'll bring it out again sometime, but honestly this way is so much easier, and I would only even desire to have that thing if I were doing some big heavy frames, or I don't know, or under such an extreme time crunch that I can't wait for the glue to dry. But I'll show you what I do here. It actually is easier. So this is called a C-clamp set, and you can see why. Because these little pieces of spring-like material are just C-shaped little pieces of heavy wire. And there are several gauges in this. I got this off of Amazon. It wasn't very expensive. But I just squeeze this real tight. Normally I'd be doing this with two hands, but right now I'm holding the camera. Oops. And it grabs in there because the ends are sharpened like this. And you can see how simple this is. It's nothing fancy, but it works so well. And this is pretty wide molding. It's about 3.5 inches thick. It doesn't matter how thick the molding, and that's what's so great about this, is it clamps the outsides. Gluing is obviously part of this. That previous one I just showed you as an example. But when I glue, I'm pretty heavy but even with the amount of glue I put on there. And I actually like to do both sides of it. And I'm very used to using my fingers for this step, and it doesn't bother me at all. I'm kind of used to having glue on my fingers. So I'll just get a heavy coat on both sides. And you'll see in a second, my saws, I'm always adjusting them, but I can never quite get them to make a perfect 45-degree angle. And so I'll put this together and clamp it, and it'll go together really nicely. But then once I get all of them put together, there's usually a gap on every single one of these, and I actually just fill it in with more glue after I've got it clamped and squared up. So I'll just take another clamp. That's pretty easy to grab even with one hand. I'll just set it here and let it grab. And that's it. And I mean, it's pretty strong. So if I wanted to, I could bring this over to the pinner after it's dry and pin it underneath. But once it's dry, there's really no need. The glue is so strong anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna do that to all 4 corners. All right, I just checked my footage and I messed up completely on my time-lapse video of me doing all 4 corners. But all I did is glue both ends of each piece and clamp it together, and then I went from this end to that end, so I wanted to do opposites, and then I went from there to there. And actually, I can't remember now which one was last. I think it was this one. And you can see that, particularly on this one, there's quite a gap. But the next thing I do is I actually bring over a finished painting. This one is the one that I'm going to be framing, and I set it there, and I use this as my guide to see how square it is. And I figured this is actually a more accurate way to tell, even more accurate than using like a carpenter's square, because, well, it doesn't matter if this painting is square or not. It'll fit if it fits in the painting correctly. And all I'm looking for is that it's the same gap along one whole edge, and the same gap along this whole edge, like from this side to here. So I can do that just by running my finger along, and I can feel it. And it looks right. So it visually checks out. All right, so I know that it'll fit that painting, and that it won't be squampus once it gets on there, or in there, I should say. Now that it's together, it kind of looks like a frame, but I have to fill those gaps. So let me open my glue back up again. This one's getting low, so I have to shake it. All right, and then I put tons of glue in there. And that's partially why I'm doing it on this piece of foam, because so much glue. It takes a lot of glue to fill up those gaps. It actually takes a few minutes for it to seep in here. But I kind of just go back and forth, just working it down inside those gaps. And of course, there's going to be some that comes through. So I'm protecting my floor. And I'm not worried a bit about all this glue on the surface, because first of all, it'll soak in, but also I am not staining this. I'm going to be painting it. Painting and gilding, some gold leafing, and in fact, I'm going to be painting it with secret recipe of red gesso that's burnishable, and it works great. I invented this water-soluble stuff that'll cover this up and cover up any imperfections. It just works great for being a nice thick undercoat that I can actually sand, and it'll show through red, which actually adds to the personality of the frame. Here's the stuff that I made. I just put it in a pickle jar. It kind of settles into different layers, so I have to shake it well every time, and it's going to take me an hour to get this open, probably. Not really. I've got several cans of it that I made. This one I can't get open anymore, so I'll have to open one of my other ones. But you can see what it looks like when it's dry. And it's, see it, it's scratchable. It's like gesso. It's basically red gesso. Ultimately, that's pretty much what it is. But I made it so that it'd be really, really thick and easy to burnish. And what I mean by burnish is, if I was to paint or gold leaf this, especially gold leaf, I could gold leaf on top of it and then rub it. Traditionally it's done with an agate burnisher, but I'm doing it with the back of my thumbnail right now. You see how it, as I push down on it, you can see a little bit. It gets shiny. And yet where it's not shiny, it's still completely matte. So you kind of see that, just that one area there. Anyway, that's the exact feature of this that I'm going for. Besides its color and thickness, everything. Anyway, it hides, like I said before, it hides the imperfections really well in the wood, and that way I don't have to do any sanding. And I absolutely hate sanding. There's no part of frame making that I hate worse. It's just absolutely terrible. So I'm gonna do this, what I've done on both sides, several times. And of course, that gap is pretty big. What this means is I need to adjust my saws again. But this is pretty typical. This size gap is more what I'm used to finding. But with my process here, it's nice that I don't have to worry about that glue, because it's pretty much a big no-no when it comes to carpentry, usually. But in this case, it's not. Don't have to worry about it. So here's this last one. I'll do that off camera and I'll be right back. You can see here I've got my other containers of my gesso, my red clay, basically is what people usually call it, or burnish sealer. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm going to wait for this to dry first. But you can see, because I've been picking at it several times on camera here, you can see what it turns into, and it looks exactly like that on the wood. It's nice and thick. I can do as many layers as I want. I usually do 2, just to get it nice and thick. Thick enough to make a nice, smooth, kind of satiny finish. And once that's completely dry, and I could do that to this right now, then I paint it black, like this. And you can see where I've slightly burnished it to where the red is actually showing through a little bit. I need to make a little repair on this one. And one right there too. Frames get dinged up, but it's nice. It's nice that I make these frames, because then I can fix them up as I want to. You can see this is the same profile as this one, so that's what this one will look like. And since that painting that I put in here is kind of the sister to this one, they're the same size, same color scheme. They match each other, so I'm gonna match the frames as well, just in case a client wants to buy both and maybe flank a fireplace or something like that. So I'm gonna match that one on this one. And so not only did I burnish this, but I also antiqued it. So that's what this gray or kind of tan is. And all that is, well, I've done 2 things, 2 different kinds of paint. So I'll mix up a gray paint in either acrylic, and it's very watered down, and then just before it dries, I kind of pounce it, I guess, with either a paper towel wad or an old sea sponge, and let it dry. So either acrylic paint or casing paint. So casing paint is is milk-derived paint, and it's used as an artist paint too, but that's what I use it for coloring that. But I wanted to show you also, here's another frame that I made, different molding. Same process exactly. I gilded this one, and it's kind of a misnomer. I didn't actually technically gild it with real gold. It's gilded with aluminum, and then it's colored to look like gold afterwards. So it's aluminum leaf, or people call it metal leaf, or silk. It looks like silver. It's basically fake silver leaf. And then it's sprayed with a colored shellac that I custom mixed just to be that nice gold tone, light gold tone. And the shellac actually seals the metal so that it can't tarnish. And you can see lots of other frames that I've made or am making. Oops. So all these paintings that I'm getting ready in piles here, all these ones that are framed, are going, well, not that one, but all the others are going to a gallery that I recently signed a contract with. So I'm busy trying to get all that sent off to them. So this will dry overnight, and then I'll paint that on there. That'll take 3 or 4 hours to dry. Then I'll paint it, and since I'm not leafing, gold leafing this one, all I'll have to do is put on the casing and then lightly burnish it, and it'll be done, totally ready to go. Then I'll stick my painting in the back, nail it in like this. Well, this one's screwed. I'm gonna take that screw out and replace it with a nail. That was to stabilize it. So I'm gonna nail it in just like that. Pretty simple. All right, well, that was a little bit of a different video, kind of a how-to if you really want to get into it. If you are interested in the process in seeing the whole thing, like if you're gonna do it yourself, let me know. I'll go ahead and make another video of the full process. If you have any other questions, let me know. If you're interested in my invention, my red gesso stuff that I made up, let me know. Not so much because I'm gonna sell it, but I'm kind of curious how much interest there may be in that type of a product. I've never sold a commercial product like that. Well, besides art, if you want to call that a commercial product. I sell that. I've always done that, but I feel like that's very, very different than selling like a literal product that you'd find on a shelf or something. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited about that. Other than I have no idea how to sell it or promote it, or I know how to manufacture it. I can do that. Anyway, so this is a little side thing. Thought you might find that interesting. A lot of artists do not make their own frames because it's kind of a pain. But after like 15 years of trying to do it myself and failing and figuring out that I hate sanding like nothing else, is just horrible. And I think I've mentioned that on this channel on several different occasions, in several different contexts. But I hope I've dispelled the idea that it's super difficult. It is not hard. I can actually, if I needed to, I could easily produce probably 20 frames in a day. And I don't like to do it like that, but I can if necessary. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, it's a fun little side project. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll get back to like more normal stuff next time, but I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye.